Alright dudes, how's it going, and welcome to a StarCraft 2 replay commentary of PredY as Terran versus First and Last as Protoss on Desert Oasis. I quite like this map. He's sending out a scout really early as First and Last. Very fast with that probe. Even though Terran's name shows up as Jumpy's real name's PredY. Well, I suspect his real name isn't actually PredY. I don't think it's his Christian name, but the name that he's usually known by is PredY, and I presume it's just his battlenet name is Jump. That's a very fast scouting of First and Last. What's he going to do with this? I'm intrigued. It doesn't seem like he's going to scout at all, no, he's going to pro down a proxy pylon. And considering he's not scouting, one would assume a gateway to match. Hasn't quite got the resources yet though. Not quite yet, but soon enough. PredY throwing down his supply depot in the usual position to block that ramp. And indeed, a proxy gateway. That's going to be some fun right there. I think he can just squeeze by that barracks. I presume it's a barracks. It is indeed a barracks. Probe opting for a bit of probe on SCV action. SCV doesn't go like that, doesn't swing that way, and decides to fight back, and he's even got a double team going on. Dirty SCVs. Probe's gonna have a little bit of a scout around, but nothing more. Another pylon at the main base for First and Last. Nothing much else in the works at the moment. And PredY seems like he's going to have a bit of a scout himself, wants to know what the deal is. If only he knew. And it's chrono boosted, is that gateway, so that's going to start producing zealots very quickly. And he seems like he might be able to get his probe out as well. Although he doesn't want to, not quite yet. Wants to get the lay of the land for that incoming zealot, and that zealot is indeed incoming. Straight up that ramp. Gas incoming for First and Last as well. And a second zealot just about to come out, there we go. That zealot's going to try to take that marine and probably is going to succeed. SCV and marine tag team there, and a few more SCVs thrown into the mix. Oh, and he's pinned that zealot against the mineral line. The marine quite liking that odds. While another zealot tries to beat down the supply depot in production. No doubt PredY's attempt to counter and throws down another supply depot. Lost the SCV in the process, but it was certainly enough to block that zealot from coming in. Very, very nice. Could have spelled disaster if PredY had not blocked properly there and not managed to repel that attack. Those zealots could have worked their way in and done some damage, particularly to the supply depots and barracks. And if not to supply depots and barracks, could have quite easily run into the worker line. Had quite a lot of options to do some early game damage there. A second barracks coming up. What's this down here? A factory in almost the mirror position of the proxy pylon and gateway. Almost, I don't think, well, he must have the suspicion now that there's a proxy pylon going on. I mean, these are both platinum players, so they must know that there's probably a proxy pylon and gateway somewhere. And he must be like, well, two can play that game, mate. Nice bit of micro, getting that zealot back, although I presume PredY will try to refocus as soon as that zealot goes down there. Indeed. And the zealots are probably going to get kited around a little bit, but he's going to get down at least one marine, maybe two. Two indeed. Maybe three. It is three. Warp gates in construction for First and Last. And that zealot is getting outed by the SCVs. Normally the zealot would be quite happy to take down SCVs, but not when 5 of them come in when he's not got much health left. Decides not to bother, and it seems like Marauders are going to Marauders are indeed starting to come out, as well as Hellions at the 7 o'clock. It does seem, however, that First and Last has a Twilight Council and Immortals coming out. He does indeed. As well as the warp gate research. And another pylon, just for good measure. Yes, just for good measure indeed. It has enough supply for the moment, but it doesn't hurt to just get ahead of that a little bit. Terran seems to be in need of another supply depot going down. Opting for a starport first. Oh no, it's just finished construction on that supply depot, that's why. PredY sending out an SCV scout to see what the deal is at the moment. He will probably that zealot's smelling the SCV from quite a distance. The cigarette of the SCV, no doubt leaving a smoke trail behind for the zealot to follow. And a nasty little army of 3 Hellions, and then lifting off his factory. Some nice kiting will indeed spell the end for that zealot, but not the end of those 2 immortals blocking the ramp. Maybe he wanted to work harass with those Hellions, but he's not getting up that ramp. Not with those 2 immortals there. Those immortals will just blow the shit out of those Hellions. Not quite sure where he's taking his factory. Maybe taking it back to his base, just wanted to try to counter the proxy pylon, do a little bit of harassing, and we've seen those immortals there has decided, you know what, it's not going to work, so let's just retreat, lads. Take this factory back. That's the pause button. You want D for production, not P. Seems that First and Last has charge in research. That'll no doubt help out versus the Marauders especially. Still continuing to produce Immortals, as about 3 at the moment, as well as a Stalker. A second and third gateway just come up, which will be no doubt converted into warp gates indeed. An observer checking out what's going on in PredY's base. He will see that starport and will be going, After seeing the medevac though, we'll be quite easily able to conclude that it's just going to be medevacs for the moment. Especially with no tech lab or anything there, it's going to be medevacs. Ah, those Hellions actually did provide some good use in the end. Managing to spot the proxy base of First and Last, and will do some damage to the pylon, but not quite enough to take it down quite yet. And with First and Last warping in reinforcements, he won't be able to take that down. Opting to charge and then retreat. It's like, well, wait a minute, there's a lot of Marines, Marauders and Medivacs coming there, and that will indeed be the end of that expansion to 4. Immortals dropping without too much of a problem, although saying that second Immortal lasted quite a lot longer than what you'd expect there. Some Zealots warped in. Doesn't seem like it's going to make much of a not much of a contribution there. And indeed, as predicted, that proxy pylon has done its job. Didn't quite get the effect that I wanted to, but against another Platinum player, what can you expect? It was certainly a nice harass, but not quite enough to do any sort of real damage. Same goes for PredY's attempted Hellion harass. Just completely blocked off by the Immortals on the ramp, just did not happen. So both players so far doing a really nice job of countering each other's attempted cheese. PredY has some research going on now, ground armour level 1. Continuing to pump Marines and Marauders, no doubt Medivacs. Ooh! And a Dark Shrine in production for First and Last. As well as some Marines, Marauders and Medivacs right into the middle of the base. Probably not going to do an awful lot, and he might even lose the Medivacs. No, it doesn't seem like he's going to. Certainly disrupted the economy for the while, but no real major damage. If you look at the units lost, it seems that First and Last is on the beating end at the moment, losing 1,000 extra resource. Less units, but more resource, as one would expect with Protoss versus Terran. First and Last, a fair bit behind the expansion race, still warping in that Nexus, whereas